investor. Um, our last guest, some of you are here to see, Darrell Stuckey. One of the largest streams of culture in America is sport. And it's not just the game, it's the entertainment, it's the advertisement, and so forth and so on. But you imagine yourself being an incredible athlete, and now you're put in the role of interfacing with teammates, interfacing with management, interfacing with fans, interfacing with the community, and you're a Christian. How are you going to handle that? Would you give it up for Darrell Stuckey?
Thank you. I'm human, right? I'm human. Just in case you guys thought that football players were immortal or gladiators or this perfect image of Jesus Christ. Well, we are. There was two things. I'm biased, of course. God tells us to believe in ourselves, not to be arrogant, but to be confident. And I like to think I treat myself in the confidence that Jesus treated himself. And I say that because I'm very humble, but it's arrogant to say that, right? I'm humiliated all the time. I make bad plays. I make great plays. Social media is all over the place. People follow me around all the time. Like I said, I'm biased. There was two things that I believe Jesus was. He's a pastor. We, the people, were the church. And he was an athlete. I say that because there's a need of discipline to do the things that he did. There's a need of love to do the things that he did. But for some reason, there's no record of the middle part of his life here. It's because he was playing sports. I like to think he was playing football. I mean, if I was God and I was creating somebody that was supposed to be a great example to all people, why not allow him play the greatest event that the world has ever seen? The Super Bowl is the most watched event in the world. Why wouldn't Jesus play in the Super Bowl? So in my mind, I believe that there is no way to gain life experience, to gain discipline, to gain selflessness, to gain humility, and to gain love for others, to prepare yourself to get on the cross, then to play football and get concussions and go out there and keep going no matter how hard it gets and keep playing because of the love of the prize. But I live in a culture, I work in a culture to where you're surrounded by domestic abuse, child abuse, DUIs, drugs, murder, adultery, shame. Sounds like everybody, right? But it also is an assumption that it only happens in the NFL. That's because we're on a podium to where our playing field is a stage. Our audience is the sanctuary that we play in. We work miracles on Sundays, just like Jesus did, you know. And we also work, and our performance is based on the offering of our congregation. And the better we play, we take offering throughout the entire game. You know, you go to the concession stand, you come back, halftime. There's not a pot going around, but there's definitely a line at every offering table. Concession stand. They just changed the name. But I'm telling you, it's a splitting image of what Jesus' life was like. Think about it. There was no social media then. Jesus was here, and he was being followed. There was no Twitter, but he had a lot of followers. Guarantee he had more followers than I do. That's a guarantee, seriously. Follow me, please. But no, there's a need of discipline in the NFL because in the field I'm in, the problem is trust. The problem is having that sense of belonging. The problem is our trust is built based off of what we go through with each other. A team is formed, chemistry is made, trust is given and earned through the blood, sweat, and the tears of sacrifice and selflessness on a day-to-day basis. how do you mirror that in everyday life? It's all the time athletes seem like they're shut off to the rest of the world because when they face their fans, the humility comes out. They're on a stage of expectations, of assumptions. It's hard because they're being condemned. They're being judged. Whether it's good or bad, there's consequences of all their actions. So the field I'm in, the problem is a need of discipline and love and transparency. I say that because when you leave the field of play and your name is no longer in the lights or famous, what prize are you searching for? There's always a sense and a desire for a prize as long as we're on this earth. Individually, not just athletes, but in the Bible it references sports all the time. Especially Paul. Paul was definitely an athlete. I'm just saying, he talked about sports all the time. I mean, if you go and think about the amount of times that sports is mentioned, one of my favorite ones is, I am pretty close to perfect in heaven. I'm not there yet, but I'll get there one day. I do not consider myself to have taken hold of it. But one thing I do, forgetting what is behind me, straining toward what is ahead of me, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. I say that because the need of discipline, love, approval, or acceptance, or transparency, or belonging of the players in the NFL is solely lacking because of trust, the inability to trust anybody outside of the sport. Because as people, we're afraid to share too much with somebody we feel doesn't have the same amount to lose as we do. Or fantasy football, if I tell my prayer group that I'm injured, it might change the standings of fantasy football. So my solution to this is love. Be patient. Be kind. Don't keep record of the wrongs. If Adrian Peterson's in your prayer group, don't ask him about the case. Genuinely be concerned with his heart. Or if Ray Rice was a part of your prayer group, be genuinely concerned with his heart and not the record of wrong that was shown before him. Because we all run the race. We all run this race to seek the prize. But the prize we have to seek as athletes can't be the same prize when we're done with the game. It has to be a prize that is heavenly. And so when I'm done and I speak and I give to you, I won't be disqualified from the race of life because I seek Jesus. Thank you.